Today, we're going to dive into the world of Ogun. He's one of the most powerful, most complex, and honestly most misunderstood deities or Rushas from the Yoruba tradition. And his story, well, it all kicks off with one giant question that really frames everything else. I mean, think about it. How do you build a world? It's a huge question, right? But it's the exact problem the Orishas were staring at when they first arrived on Earth. And the answer? It begins with a single, decisive move. So picture this, a world of pure, raw potential. Imagine a forest so thick, so dense, that no light ever hits the ground. It's just a solid wall of green. It's got everything it needs to become a world, but it isn't one yet. It was beautiful, sure, but it was totally impassable. And this is where our story really gets going. Because while all the other Orishas just stood there hesitating at the edge of all this chaos, one of them did something. One of them went first. The problem was pretty simple. If they wanted to live in this new world, someone had to carve a path through the chaos. But, who is going to be the one to step into the unknown? Ogun was. He took his machete, and with nothing but his own will, he started the work. Not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. He didn't wait for a committee. He made the way. And you have to understand, Ogun's domain isn't just about a hunk of metal. It's the idea of technology itself. It's transformation. From the first hoe that breaks the soil, to the blueprint for a skyscraper, to the surgeon's scalpel in the operating room, wherever a human being takes raw stuff and turns it into something new, that's the realm of Ogun. Okay, so this brings us to our first big idea. See, Ogun's story isn't just some old myth. It gives us this incredibly powerful way to think about what work, what dignity, and what justice really mean. Now, here's a really crucial concept. In the Yoruba tradition, work isn't a chore. It's not a punishment. It's sacred. To build, to create, to forge something with your hands or your mind, that's you participating in the divine act of creation. It is a fundamental expression of your own humanity. And this idea gets really, really political when you start thinking about the history of Black labor. This quote just perfectly captures Ogun's oldest paradox. The sacred act of making was exploited, but the dignity of the maker, that could never be totally stamped out. You can see how entire systems were built to disconnect the person doing the work from the rewards of that work. Slavery, of course, was a complete assault on this whole idea of sacred labor. And you can trace that line of exploitation right on through sharecropping, redlining, and even to the shaky ground of today's gig economy. So how do you fight back? Well, this quote just nails it. Craftsmanship becomes an act of revolution. To achieve mastery in something, whether it's jazz or writing or carpentry, when the whole world is set up to see you fail, that's not just about making a pretty thing. It's a powerful statement. It's proof of your undeniable dignity and humanity. But look, Ogun's story isn't simple. And to really get him, you have to face the most challenging part of his nature. The fact that creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. They can't be pulled apart. The very same iron that forges a plow to feed people can be forged into a weapon. The same fire that tempers a tool for building can burn a village to the ground. The myth of Ogun doesn't give us some clean, simple hero. It forces us to look at the fact that the power to create is the power to destroy. It's always a double-edged blade. And this leads us to one of Ogun's most vital lessons, maybe the most vital. Power just for the sake of having power isn't the point. It has to be guided by ethics, by discipline, by a sense of responsibility. Power without that moral compass isn't strength. It's just a fire waiting to burn out of control. And this ancient lesson is so incredibly relevant right now. Just think about it. Think about policing. A force that's meant to serve and protect can also become a force that harms. Or look at our technology. It can connect and liberate people, but it can also be used for mass surveillance and control. It always comes down to who's holding the hammer and why. So that brings us to our last big theme. How does this ancient story speak to the idea of cultural survival? And how does it make us rethink our whole idea of what it even means to be strong? When you look at it, the story of Black culture in the Americas is literally a story of the forge. Through the unbelievable fire of the Middle Passage and under the constant pressure of Jim Crow, a new cultural identity wasn't just saved, it was created. It was forged and reforged again and again with this incredible resilience. This challenges our whole definition of strength. We tend to mix it up with just being hard, being stoic, rigid, never showing any weakness. But Ogun teaches something different. He teaches integrity. Like steel that's been tempered, real strength is flexible. It can bend without breaking. It knows how to renew itself. And this is so key. In one of his most important stories, Ogun actually retreats because of grief and failure. And his ability to feel that, to pull back, and then to come back to the work, that's shown as the ultimate act of courage. It proves that vulnerability, the ability to rest, to grieve, to heal, that's not weakness. It's a necessary part of what makes you strong enough to endure. Okay, so after all of this, where is Ogun now? Where do we find that path-clearing, world-making spirit in our own lives? See, Ogun's fire isn't just for the big, flashy history book moments. It burns in the quiet, daily, essential work that people do. It's in the teacher who shows up every day for their students, the organizer fighting for their community, the artist who creates something beautiful out of pain, the parent who is building a future one day at a time. That is the work of the Forge. In the end, Ogun's story is all about transformation. It's a reminder that making the world is hard, it costs something, and it's a job that is never, ever finished. And it leaves us with this powerful idea. We are all children of that forge. So the question is, what are you creating today?